welcome to this new video for my channel, The Mental Traveler. I'm Caro Herrera and today I'm going to be reviewing a story called Anne of Green Gables. I shall be reviewing the first 8 novels as well as their TV adaptations from 1985 and 1987. The books were written by L.M. Montgomery and the first one was published in 1908. Over the following decades, the author would write more of this series and the latest one came out in 2009, years after Montgomery's death. I won't be talking about that one though, and the reason I won't be reviewing it is because rather than a novel, its format consists more of short stories and poems, and Anne isn't that much of a protagonist in them. Still, the 80s series starred Megan Follows. Before I begin though, let me just say that this will be a video without spoilers, so sit back and enjoy. The 8 books are called as following: Anne of Green Gables, Anne of Avonlea, Anne of the Island, Anne of Windy Poplars, Anne's House of Dreams, Anne of Ingleside, Rainbow Valley, and Rilla of Ingleside. This is a chronological order in the narrative, but the author wrote some of the last ones before some of the first ones. Anyways, this story starts in Prince Edward's Island in Canada during the last decades of the 19th century. It follows this red-headed orphan girl called Anne Shirley, who has an amazing imagination and is very peculiar. Anne's had a tough childhood, but when she comes to live at Green Gables, her life changes drastically. Over the next 8 books, we follow Anne from the ages of 11 to 53. We see her going to school, making friends, deciding what profession she wants to pursue. We see her falling in love, becoming a mother, and in the last novels, the plot focuses more on her children. Even though I enjoyed some more than others, I give all the books of Anne of Green Gables have 5 out of 5 stars review. They're not perfect, but I've always liked sweeping family sagas that span decades, and this is sort of a children's version of that. Plus, it's set in Canada, and I've always liked stories of the 19th and 20th centuries set in the British Empire. Anyways, Anne is such a beautiful character and I'm so happy that she's an inspiration for so many young girls around the world. And talking about characters, as an aspiring writer myself, I am just in awe of the author's ability to write so many different characters in all of her novels and to give them distinctive traits, to make people remember them and to give them an original story. But yeah, if I could compare Anne of Green Gables to another series, I would say Little Woman, because they're all really sweet, quaint, charming stories set around the same time period, not that far apart when we speak geographically. So if you like Little Woman, you might want to check out Anne of Green Gables. Still, I also began reading these books because I wanted to have something that was really pretty and nice and good to read. But after more than a month of reading the 8 books, I'm a bit afraid that I was a bit fed up with so much niceness. They were just so sweet at times that I was fearing I would get a toothache or something. Sure, they are aimed for kids, but it was just hard to read about this place in the world where everything seems perfect, where good people always get rewards and bad people don't, because that's not the real world. It would have been better if I had a break between the first 4 books and then the next 4. I mean, as soon as I read Anne of Green Gables, the next book I read was Anna Karenina because I needed something that was more mature and adult, realistic. But yes, anyways. Moving on, as to my review of the 80s series, I really liked them. I think that the authors were cast perfectly, and it was funny because I thought they were these really faithful adaptations, and yet when I was reading the books I kept seeing that this was not so, and it was really weird at times. But I think that they did a good job of taking different bits of different novels and merging it into a concise story for the 1987 version, for example. So yeah, in the end I really liked these adaptations and recommend them. Same actors reprised their roles in the year 2000 for a sequel called Anne of Green Gables, the continuing story. I started watching it before reading the books, but something felt odd, so I stopped. I guess I just didn't feel Anne's decisions were making sense, and then I checked that they had taken many liberties with the plot, and so I didn't finish it. There are many other adaptations of this story, the most recent one being the one I mentioned, Anne with an E, but I don't think I'm going to be watching any of the other adaptations anytime soon. I like the 80s version so much, I don't want to watch other people's take on it. As I grew up, I never really cared that much for Anne of Green Gables. I kind of knew there was this movie about this red-headed girl, which maybe I confused with Pippi Longstocking at times. But yeah, my best friend from childhood, she really did like Anne. She had all the books. But it wasn't until 2018, when I moved to Canada, that Anne started to have a more important role in my life. And this happened because I went to Canada to study 2 continuing education courses, and one of them was how to start writing my novel. And in it, I discovered that Canadians are very passionate about their authors. They really promote them. L.M. Montgomery was mentioned several times. and the best friend from childhood that I just mentioned, she was living nearby, and she had just received this new copy of the first book of Anne of Green Gables, and she was again praising it and telling me that I would like it. So I started to consider reading it. By this time, Netflix adaptation of Anne had already come out. It's called Anne with an E, but I haven't seen it even though I like period dramas. Anyways, after I left Canada, I started to get into children's classics, and so I remembered Anne and decided it was high time that I gave this story a try. Still, before I read the books, I did some research and I found that the 80s for adaptations were very famous, and so I watched them because I wanted to have an idea of what I was getting myself into, and I really liked them, and thus I was all set to read the novels. But yes, in the description box below you can find a link to all of the novels Goodreads page, as well as a link to the 1985 and 1987 adaptations IMDB page. And well, I think this is all I have to say about Anne of Green Gables for the moment. Thank you very much for watching my review of this story. Please let me know if you liked it or not. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that you did, but I would love to talk about it with you, so please share your own thoughts about Anne Shirley and her world. And yes, well, I'm Carolera, the Mental Traveler, and I hope you have a wonderful day wherever you are in the world. I'll be seeing you soon. Goodbye.